Bob told me that I was going to be rehired that summer and that he was going to put me on this building job. I knew absolutely nothing about it, but he did tell me where the site was, and I wandered down there. I was still doing courses at the U of A. There were bulldozers on the site.
Was there any old building to demolish or trees to clear or anything like that?
I think not. I think it was an open field. And I think I knew at that point that this was going to be a very intensive kind of project because the owners wanted it built start to finish. The McNamara was being hired, and I assume paid for, a very rapid project. I mean, that's what happened. They started clearing the snow in early March, and they opened it sometime, I think, around the end of October. And everything was done, and all the tenants, maybe not all of them, but 90% of them were in place.
The building of the shopping centre, was that run out of McNamara's regular office, or was it run from the site?
It's never quite that distinct. First, in any construction job like that, it's the estimating staff in the head office who set the project, who in effect bid on it, price it out, bid on it, and they have a view of how it would go. In my experience with McNamara, their view of how it would go and how it actually went would be fairly different because the key player is the superintendent in that kind of a building job. And I in particular, but the company was blessed with very, very good building superintendent. Superintendent in the sense of running the construction. I don't mean the building. His name, and I think I can give this because it would also be a matter of public record, his name was Joe Steele, spelled S-T-E-I-L. So that's probably a German name originally, but he was Joe Steele. And most of the volume of work over the whole project was undertaken by subtrades. So there was a lot of brickwork on the original shopping center, a sort of creamy colored brick. All the bricklaying was done by a particular company that did that. And that would have been true over most of it. If I'm correct, the only employees from McNamara Western on the job were Joe and myself and a labor crew headed by, he was a great guy. He was Portuguese, small, rotund Portuguese, great sense of humor and constantly cheerful. And most of his crew was Portuguese. And I think that their role was, bringing in underground services. I'm sure others were involved, brought in, backhoes and things like that. But their job was to make sure that all those lines were in the right place. And they carried on through the project because, foundation wall would be built and somebody had to be around to backfill it properly. And so there was a labor crew, I think, there most of the summer, headed by this guy. I'm not aware of anybody else who was not also a subtrade. They had their own foreman and so on.
And where did you and Joe Steele work?
We worked in a construction trailer on the east edge of the site, which I think would have been just a bit north of the gas station, the Safeway gas station.
Somewhere there was no Safeway there then.
There was no Safeway there. No, not from the original. Was Meadowlark Shopping Centre was anchored by Zellers at one end, Sears at the other. There was no grocery store that I'm aware of.
The spring of 1963, and you and Joe are sharing a trailer. Could you tell us more about the office setup?
It was small, as I recollect it. Had an entrance on one end, actually on the long side of the trailer, and one of those counter desks, high counter, and then my desk was behind it. And there was a bit more space and a table, if I remember correctly, for plans, and then at the far end, Joe had a separate space.
Private office.
Yeah, the door was always open. He was in and out.